Hello and welcome to this week's Align and Activate Your Spiritual Business. I am Jenny Priestner, manifestation and mindset mentor, master NLP practitioner, channel and healer. So I help spiritual business owners move from a place of fear and self-doubt to confidently show up in their business so they can manifest a thriving soul-led business. And as always, I am accompanied by the beautiful
Amy, and I am a coach and mentor for healers and light workers. I help to support them to activate their light language and step into powerful self concept so that they become the powerful, magnetic leaders they know they're meant to be.
Woo! Drop mic walk out. I'm loving
Yeah.
that one. So before we dive into this week's topic of conversation, as always, we invite you to like and subscribe to our channels. Just obviously this has a little benefit for us because it sends it out to the algorithm for other people, but also as well, so then it notifies you when our next amazing episode comes out and lets you know what we're up to, etc. So yeah, it's a energetical, reciprocal way. So yeah, like and subscribe. Thank you. So this week then we are asking you the question, are you people pleasing in your spiritual business? So
Mm.
then, and as when we were discussing what to put on this one, Amy had put underneath it the sacred art of saying no. And I was like, I love that because it is though, isn't it? It's like people, like, obviously we're going to speak about this, but I think when people are a people pleaser, it's overspills into every aspect of their life. They're not just got boundaries in one aspect and then like over giving in another. So yeah, if you are people pleasing, majority of the time it's going to run out into every aspect of what you do, be it whether that be a parent, a girlfriend, or a
Mm.
business owner. It's going to run out. So the sacred art of saying no. Love that one. So then, and I'd just like to put here then, because I think this is a topic of conversation that's come up for me in the past. And I've just put here having a spiritual business doesn't mean that you're giving away your time and energy for free. Yeah. And I'm just going to go into this because I remember speaking to someone about it one time and they were like, yeah, but it's like, if it's spiritual and this is your gift, then why are you charging? Shouldn't you be doing it for free? And I just thought, hang on a minute, Poppet. Like, we live in like even if it is a gift and, it's coming from the divine, it doesn't just mean that I'm supposed to put myself on the streets and not be able to, house my family and stuff just to be able to give it out for free. So yeah, that was my Jerry Springer's thoughts on that one. So, Amy, the sacred art of saying no. Do you feel like you can say no then in your business?
Yeah, and it's definitely a big one for me, this because I would say, like my whole thing is like people pleasing, and that shows up in various subtle forms for me. And
Subtle.
I've got better and better at the sacred art of saying no, like fuck no. And the reason that I have is because, and you can't have a successful business and be saying yes to everything and everyone. Like, you are going to have to learn to say no, and you're going to have to learn to become empowered in your no as well. And it's gonna, if you are a people pleaser, and it's going to depend on your upbringing, right? And it does get easier, but you can't have a successful business and be saying yes to everything, because you will become energetically drained. And like you were saying, there is this idea that as spiritual entrepreneurs, as light workers, right, and especially if you're a woman, you want to just give and give and give and give and give until you're like depleted. And a lot of the time you don't even realize, and this is what I mean by the subtlety of it, you don't even necessarily realize that it's happening or that you're doing it. And over time it's just going to lead to resentment, frustration, overwhelm, and you not putting yourself forward in your business in ways that you could be, because you're saying yes to too many things. Do you know what I mean? So it shows up like in so many ways, and it just gets easier over time. And that's what I just want to say. And then I feel like you're not so much of maybe a people pleaser as like what I am. You were always quite good at saying no, where it's something that I really had to learn to yeah, just to become empowered in that, and like not to have anxiety as well. Like, yeah.
I think this is where, because if you haven't seen the difference in our person, I'm a very blunt person, so it is just like a I don't know. I don't have that filter that like. So this is the filter of candy floss and fluffiness, and like when your
Mm.
words are coming out your mouth, mine doesn't have that, so it just comes out. So mine's like, no, I don't want to do that. No, it's crap. Like just it just fires out. So I suppose the people pleasing tendencies there don't really kind of exist in that sense. But we're going to sort of like what. So with people pleasing, then it is a lack of boundaries. So it's a lack of your boundaries then defined what you are willing to accept and what you're not willing to accept in a
Yep.
situation. And so I would say that I have likened my boundaries before to like Trump's wall, and I have no political allegiance given that whatever's going on at the moment, but it's just something that I know is very, very, very high and very, very, very sturdy. So yeah, my boundaries are like Trump's wall. They're just razor sharp and razor high. And I don't feel like they've taken me over time to demonstrate. I just feel like, you know, as personalities, we're all multifaceted, aren't we? So I
Mm.
might be high in the boundary department, but I might be very low in another department. So then Amy might be, she's worked on it. She might be lower in the boundary department, but then something else that I'm lacking, maybe she might be high. So again, it's our personalities are on sliders, aren't they? We're all on a spectrum of sliders. Like, yes, we have a lot of that, or no, we don't have a lot of that. So I'm quite lucky to have boundaries. So just look going into what not having boundaries looks like then within a spiritual business. And I think Amy, you can share some stories on these as well, because I've definitely had them. And people asking for freebies or discounts
Mm. Mm.
and you agreeing. So I'd had someone reached out recently and they were saying, oh, I really, really love your stuff. I don't have any money to work with you, but I really, really, really need your help. Now, this again, for some people, they might be like, oh my God, this person needs me. I want to, gift them this service. But again, though, it's like, it's about valuing what
Yeah.
you have to offer and what you do. So what is the point then in someone coming and paying for your service and then all of a sudden you're just giving it away just because to the next person? So that then is not quite fair on the person that's paid for your service that values what you have to do. So I'm not a very trigger happy person either, but I think in that instant I was a bit like, oh, like what do I do here with this one? And I just took a deep breath and I just like kind of tuned in and I just went back to her and said, oh yeah, completely understand that. I understand the situation, which is why I offer a proud pricing points for my different packages, but also as well, I give a lot of free value. So I said, go back, have a look at
Yeah.
all my reels that are on Instagram, which are also on Facebook as well. And I'm always putting what they call journal prompts and guides and questions, and I give away a free guide as well. So I give a lot of free value to people. So it is just going in and deciphering all the information that I'm giving. So again, though, I didn't feel guilty because I am offering people free help in a way that they have to go and seek it themselves rather than like, oh my God, I feel really sorry for you. Please, here, have a 12-week program for free, which then you're probably not going to put your full heart and attention into because
No.
you got it free.
Exactly, exactly. So definitely I have good boundaries now, like in a lot of areas, and definitely in my spiritual business now. Um yeah, I mean it's been a similar thing with me as well, in that like people asking for like programs for free and stuff like that, and sessions at half price,
God loves
and
a trier.
yeah, and like, and and this is where, right, it really, really does come down to you, and especially in the beginning, and this is where it comes like with valuing what you have to offer and what you have to give, and your own inner worthiness and all that, because the more that you go on this journey, okay, the more that like you're going to value your services, because you know the transformation you provide, and you've actually got that physical proof of like people transforming and their businesses changing, or whatever it is that you do, that you help people with. And it's like, well, we are here to, yes, support people as light workers, to be of service, And, it's very much the same for me in that, like, I've created loads and loads and loads of free courses. And, my YouTube channel has got hundreds of like free videos on there, and like Facebook lives and all of that stuff. Like, we are definitely here to help people. But if you're providing a level of service that when you do like a one-to-one with someone, when you're doing like a program, when someone chooses to energetically invest in you and you're supporting them energetically, there needs to be a deeper level of exchange. So I remember this one guy, like, especially when I was in the beginning, he was saying like, I'd like to, this is what it can look like, especially if you're a coach. I'd like to just have a chat with you about your services, and as a healer as well. I'd like to go for a coffee with you and ask you about your services. And this is where you're going to have to decide, okay? Because for me, it's like, no, you are wanting to pick my brains here, actually. And, you need to use your intuition to to tell it. If you do offer like discovery calls or whatever it is over a coffee, that's fine. I'm not saying don't do that if that feels right for you, but it didn't feel right for me because I was creating all this beautiful free content. And then this guy's like trying to basically say to me, like, let's go for a coffee so that I can pick your brains. Maybe there's something more in it. I don't know, right? Whatever. But I've had several people do that, like women as well, where they like, can we just have a chat about such and such? And it's like, I you have to be very clear in that, okay, we can have a 10-minute chat, right? We can have a 10-minute chat over the phone. And I'll support you in any questions that you've got to ask about, this service. And if it's a good decision for you, then I'll let you know how we can move forward with it. It's all this stuff, like, in the beginning, I would spend like a long time, like an hour, doing discovery calls and things like that. And having people go, I'm definitely going to sign up for your program, and then you'll say, right, okay, so whatever. And then like they'd be like, well, I can't do it right now, and this, that, and the other. And then like a week later, they'd say, oh my God, like I had one lady say, like, you know, like the discovery call had been better than 10 years of counseling. But then when it came to actually signing up for the service, because I actually gave so much, right? And this is where you don't coach people on
Healed her in half
discovery
an hour.
calls. No, right? You can coach them in that you can help them to come to the right decision for them as to whether your service is appropriate, but don't be like actually coaching people, which is what I used to do, right? And then like, because you it's like then they're not going to work with you, because why would they? They're not going to value what you have to give. Do you know what I mean? And this is gonna look different for everybody. So that's kind of my thoughts on it. I've had, and it's all that stuff, especially in the beginning, where you really got to be clear in yourself what it is you're available for. And as Jenny said, like this podcast in itself is so valuable with the amount of information that we give in, right? And it's like you can refer people back to stuff and support them in saying, like when people say they've got no money and stuff like that. And obviously we've created a podcast about that to go back to that. What was it called, Jen?
Investing in your business,
Yeah,
investing in your spiritual business.
investing in your
You name
spiritual.
Jen.
Yeah. And it's like, I'm sure we'll come back to that as well. But it's like, do you want to be able to like feed the kids? Or do you want to be able to support yourself? Do you want an actual business, or do you want a hobby? Which is it? Because if you want an actual business, and this is me blunt talking now, if you want an actual business, then you're going to have good boundaries. There's no two ways about it.
It's true. But I love how you've given, and I think the thing is though, is we always try to share our experiences as well. Just so number one, if you are experiencing it, then you know it's completely okay. And number
Yeah.
two, it's like, okay, they've had it as well. Or I just think it just makes it real, doesn't it? We're not sat here like mighty on high on some pedestal, like do as we say, not as we do. It's like, this is what we've experienced. This is what we've gone through. This is the messages that we receive off people. So if you are getting them, it's not for the fact that you're flaky or floppy or that someone thinks that they can take the piss out of you. At the end of the day, though, there's people out there that will just try and come on. And it's up to you then to decide if you want to be a little bit jellyfishy and be like, oh yeah, so sorry, I'll work with you for free. Or if you're going to be like, sugar tits, not today. So,
Sugar tits. Yeah.
business.
Where'd that come
I
from?
don't know. It just came on channeling it. Sorry about that one. So with that one though as well, it's like we want to, like how Amy said there with the connection call. And I suppose with the connection call sometimes is in the beginning there can be like a desperation to want to hook the client, to keep the client. And so then we might find ourselves making personal sacrifices and bending over backwards to make clients happy. And if you're starting this in the beginning, then you might find that it starts going on. And this can look like not having defined times to be messaging people, for example. And we've discussed this beforehand about, if you do have group coaching programs, or if you have like WhatsApp groups, like communities and things like that, and people will be putting stuff in at all times. But it's up to you. You can see the notification, blah, blah, has said, oh, has anybody done this tonight? And it's like, you can see the notification, but it's up to you whether you want to open it and reply. So at the end of the day, though, people are energetically, some people stay up till 3 in the morning, some people are up at 6:30, and they'll be messaging in the group whenever they see fit, which I think is absolutely fine because I message people when things come to my mind. If I think, oh, can't message it now, I'll hold on to it till later in the morning, then that thought is gone. But I always just think and hope and trust that someone has got the boundaries not to be like, oh, right, I need to open this message from Jenny. Because that was one thing that I have definitely experienced in my lifetime. And this is before I had my spiritual business of if someone texts me, I used to always feel like I've got to text them back because I didn't
Mm,
want them thinking, oh, I'm ignoring them. And
yeah.
to be honest, I used to get really, really, really bad anxiety about this. And I think this was when I was really suffering with my hormones. It used to kick in massively. And it's that whole thing of feeling like you need to text back immediately. And especially now, being a parent and stuff like that, I will have 100, I'm digressing here, but there is a point to it. I'll have 100 bags. I'll be carrying, walking Harvey to the car, and like I'll read someone's message and think, right, I can't reply to that now. So then I'll go in then on a 3 hour journey and then I'll reply when I'm ready. But previously, that would have done my head in because I would have been like, shit, I don't want them to think that like I'm ignoring them. I don't want them to think I'm rude. And as well, in the same breath, I've done that as well, where I've messaged someone and I've seen that they've read it and they've not replied. Why have they not replied? What have I done wrong? Reading the message, analysing it like, was my wording not right on it? Have I upset them? Have I done something wrong? But all that has gone now. So again, I feel like the more comfortable and confident as you become as a person in yourself, not only your business, this is where you start to thrive and flourish because things like that, those anxious thoughts, or they're just a whisper of the past. And then you can concentrate on what you actually need to be doing, which is putting yourself out there for your business and
Yeah.
attracting clients. So yeah, when we get rid of all these little like, oh, I feel like I need to go and do that. No, you fucking don't. Like, get rid of that thought. Just do things when you want to do them, and it's okay to do it. If someone's sat there hating on you because you've not responded straight away, that's on them. That is nothing that you have done wrong. So again, it's get comfortable that people might be having these thoughts of like, why she not responded? But let them, everyone's entitled to their
Yeah.
opinion. It just don't let that energy come through to you. So again, strong boundaries, not only energetically, but physically.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And it is like the more that you go on this journey, the more that you do like your own inner work and all that, it's like you over time you give less and less and less of a fuck. Do you know what I
Yes,
mean?
yes, 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 yes,
Like
yes.
well, it is, isn't it? It's like there's no really
My
other way
energy
of
just went, ah.
there's no really other way of saying it. And it's also the inner story and the self-concept that you've got of yourself and like what's happening with that person in that like, if you've got strong self-concept, like your concept of self, it's like, well, that person can wait and that's okay. Like it's okay for me to have strong boundaries and you don't have that guilt feeling or that anxiety feeling anymore because you're like, well, people are understanding, right? And you can choose energetically, and I think this is a big one as well. You over time, my clients have got better and better and better that I've worked with, right? And that's because I energetically set boundaries within to say I'm only going to attract people that honor and respect my boundaries. I'm only going to attract this type of person. Do you know what I mean? And that's what I've attracted. Whereas in the beginning, so I wrote like a whole list of exactly what this, what this person would be like. And it was like, they're good communicators. If someone sends me a message and the communication is shit, I'm not responding to that person. I haven't got time for you. Sorry, but I haven't. Like, construct a well sentenced email, please, or just don't waste my time. I haven't got time to like decipher like what is going on, right? I haven't. So that's one of my things straight away. Like, my clients have excellent communication. My
Have you
clients,
seen my text messages? My text messages. I am renowned as being a shit texter because I'm too busy. I just send. And like, even my friend said, she's like, I can read Jenny text.
yeah, well, we do voice messages, remember? So that's
Podcasts.
podcast. Yeah, podcast. That's how we ended up doing this,
That's how the
right?
podcast was born, like 10-minute voice notes.
Through 10-minute voice notes about what we thought about things. And it was like, well, why don't we just make this into a podcast? Because we were sending each other podcasts about all this stuff. So, so one of my boundaries with my clients is that they're excellent communicators, because I haven't got time to sit there and decipher shit. And like, do you know what I mean? And like they know what they want as well, right? Like, and you might be someone that helps people to have clarity on their life purpose and stuff like that. And there is an aspect of that to what I do, but generally they know that they're healers, they know that they're light workers, and they know that they want a successful spiritual business. I'm now working with those people, right? So it's like I'm not really working with people that don't really know what they want. Like, they just maybe just a bit dabbling in spirituality. They're not really my people. They were my people in the beginning, and that's okay. So that is an energetic boundary in itself, is getting clear on the person that you want to work with. And in the beginning, you might not know. But that again is why you attract people that also don't know. Because the clearer that you get in your energy, the clearer that your clients get in their energy, you're attracting a person that's clear in their energy, because you're an energetic match. And therefore, you've got those energetic boundaries, and working with clients becomes easier and easier and easier over time. And that's why they always say, like, to what's your message, what's your vision. And that's why it's really, really important that whatever business you have, what your vision is, because you know where you're going, you know the person that you want to attract. So if you are attracting people that are doing your head in, and they're not great at communicating, and you're having a back and forth, and it's taking the piss, and it's taking ages, right? You want to really write down exactly what your person looks like, how they're showing up. Like, are they easy to work with? Are they coachable, or whatever it is that you do? Are they receiving what you have to give with ease? Do they decide quickly to work with you? Right? It's all these things. You can decide how people show up for you, but you have to get clear in your energy first, and then you have to honor it. So, for example, like I was saying about the communication thing, I just stopped with the back and forth, and I stopped. There wasn't that guilt there anymore about I've not responded to this person. It's like, oh well, like, if I look rude, then I don't care. Like,
Rude
literally, I
bitch.
don't. Yeah, I don't have a bitch, right? Whatever. Like, do you know what I mean? It's like your people, the people that you're meant to work with, are going to work with you and value you no matter what. But you have to be clear in your energy about like stopping with the boundaries. And you can ask for clarity. You could message that person back and say, I'm sorry, I'm not fully understanding what it is that you want in here. Can you just give me clarity on that? You can communicate that. But then if they still come back to you with something else and it's vague, and you're like, what the fuck is this? Like, don't respond, and don't have any guilt about that either, because we're not here to serve everybody. We're not. So yeah, get clear on who it is that you want to serve and how they're going to show up for you.
I love that, because I feel in what you said there is you've touched on manifestation and the law of attraction and the
Yeah.
law of vibration. So that if you've got wishy-washy boundaries, and what you were saying there is like not being clear on who you help and what you're willing to offer. So basically, if you're open to work with everyone, then you're gonna get everyone. So this is where Amy's saying, if you've got clear, distinct, energetic boundaries, then that's what you're gonna send out, and then that's what you'll get back. So again, and if you are new to manifestation or you don't know what we're talking about with the law of attraction, the law of vibration, again, tap into the old Align and Activate podcast that we did. Again, we speak about what is manifestation. I love how we've done all these ones like, can't be bothered explaining it, go and watch it.
Yeah, because it's too long to explain. We've gone really in depth with all this stuff before, so it's like, and I'm sure we'll keep revisiting.
Yeah, so it is quite useful. Like we can start referring back to our old ones now. So the downsides of people pleasing then, I feel like we've touched on some of these though. So we've got like an energetic drain because if you imagine it, like your energy is in a cup. And if you are, sorry if I'm annoying you today. I think it's because I've got a candle burning. I think I'm getting like gasoline poison. Anyway, so if you've got your cup which is full, if you're constantly pouring out of it, then this is where you're going to deplete your energy, like we've said then, and it's going to make your energy. If you're an energy worker and you're constantly over giving, and then that can even be like Amy said, like. I feel like my connection calls as well are done because I feel like too many people have ruined it for other people and they tried using it as a coaching opportunity. And it's like, that's not what it's about. So I'm very clear now at the beginning of them, and I'm only very picky as well with who I send them out to. So
Yes.
yeah, so just because everybody else is doing it, everybody else has discovery calls and connection calls, it doesn't mean you have to. Do what
Nope.
sits well with your
Nope.
energy.
Not at all.
Also as well, if you're constantly bending over backwards to do what other people want you to do, then you lose your business authenticity because your authentic self is your business. It's who you are. So if you're then, oh well, I'll do a bit of that for them and I'll do it like then it's like you're no longer the nice, beautiful square that you are. You're waving everywhere. So
Mm.
yeah, it's your business starts to reflect other people's expectations rather than what your true vision is. So you kind of like it's blurred lines, isn't it? You're kind of accepting what other people want you to speak about and teach rather than like what you actually want to deliver. So yeah, just being really firm in your message. And we've said there as well, burnout when you're constantly just doing everything for everyone else. And again, though, with that, I feel like, and don't get me wrong, we've said about last week's as well, what to do when your spiritual businesses fall into shit. It's like burnout can happen when you've got a spiritual business because it is hard work. It's not this beautiful divine thing that everyone makes out for it to be. At the end of the day, you're still a business and you're still putting
Yeah.
yourself out there. But again, though, if you're overcompensating, over sending out energy, people pleasing. It's like you're going to burn out faster. Like it's graft enough as it is trying to like create. And we were speaking about this before, like trying to
Yeah.
create a video, and it's like, well, I'm going to put it on TikTok, I'm going to put it on Facebook, I'm going to put it here, going to put it there, do
Right.
this caption, do that one. And then you've got people messaging you like, oh, could you coach at 10 o'clock at night? Because I'm on nights. Could you do this? Could you do that? And it's like, whoa, it's about just being clear in what you want to offer. So,
Mm.
any more to add on the downsides of people pleasing?
Yeah, I mean the biggest one is like is burnout, and I would say that that's something that I've definitely experienced, and I like help people with now is finding that passion, finding that spark, that you know that like illumination again in the business, right? Through what it is that I do, because it is easy to become burnt out with this, and especially when you've been doing it a very, very long time. And what it is really though is that you're not fully aligned to what it is that you're actually doing, right? Because it's not coming from that. Like you think that you're aligned to it, but you've got to look at everything and being aligned in every single area. So how it is that you're putting yourself out on social media, because when it's from a very pure place, it's very natural and easy just to be creating content. So it's it is really just about, again, having the boundaries within first. Like, what do I actually want? How do I actually want to, create my business? And then not getting swayed by just what Jenny was saying, like everyone else is doing it this way, so therefore I have to. And you don't have to be on every single social media platform. You don't have to be like, you don't have to have a membership if you don't want one. You don't like have to do sessions in this certain way. And here's probably a big one that like I've definitely come up against like the past like 2.5 years or whatever it is, that like you can be good at something. I'm not saying this in a big-headed way, but like you can know that you're good at something, but you can still not want to do it. And your clients can still be having transformations from it. But in your heart of hearts, deep down, you're like, well, I should do this because I'm good at it. And I should do this because my clients are having transformations. But I don't actually want to, if I'm being genuinely honest with myself. Right.
Got a
And
boundary
that's
with yourself, Amy.
yeah, and it's like and that's where it's not fully aligned, right, to who you actually are. There's another way for you to do it. And if you're then putting that energy out in the world where you start to become burnt out, then your clients will feel it. And then that leads to further resentment and frustration in you. So it's like this big circle where like you're just like, why is it not happening? And it's like it's because it's not, you're not like really kind of like on fire for what it is that you're doing. And you're not like people love people that are enthusiastic about what they do. Any good salesperson, and I don't care because this is what I hear all the time, and it's something that I've really had to work with, and I know you've had to work with it as well. It's like, yeah, you don't. Everyone's like, yeah, but I just want to coach. Yeah, but I just want to do healings. Yeah, but I just want to do my spiritual work. Well, I'm sorry, but you're a business owner, so you have to learn to be an entrepreneur. You have to. There's no choice about it. Do you want a business or not? Like the two things go hand in hand. So it's either that or you go and you can be, you can be an employed Reiki master. You can go and work for somebody else. You can go and work for the NHS now as as a whatever. You can be an employed coach. But we're talking here to spiritual business owners. And therefore, even though you only want to do coaching, you only want to do healing, you're going to have to learn to be an entrepreneur. And what that's going to look like for you, and what it's looked like for me as well, is that you have to learn to see your entrepreneurial aspect of your business as an extension of the service work that you're doing, and not see it all as being separate, because it's that separation that creates the burnout. So I feel like I went on a mad tangent there.
It was a welcome one. But I did a story about this as well recently. And it was just, when you start speaking on a story and then all of a sudden I was like, I'm just gonna be honest, right? There are thousands of Reiki people out there. There are thousands of spiritual mediums out there. There are thousands of coaches out there. Like, you are not special, but what makes you special is your uniqueness. And it is this that you are selling, your uniqueness. Like, okay,
Right.
and we don't have to shit on someone else. We don't say like they do it that way and that's wrong. It's not about that. I'm just saying
No.
it's about like, this is how I do it. This is how my program will help you. So yeah, you're right in what you're saying is like, and it's not necessarily, I was gonna say it's not selling, it's bragging. Like, this is what I can do. These are my results. But it's
Yeah.
yeah, there is an art of selling, the psychology of sales.
Yeah.
So yeah, there is, and like I think I said that to you, I was like, I just want to coach. I just want to turn up and coach.
We've all said
I
it.
don't want to deal
We've
with all
all
this
said
bullshit, all
it.
this content stuff and this copywriting and blah 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 blah. It's like it's boring as hell. Like, I'm not designed to do that. I'm designed to open my mouth, talk, and like just help someone
Yeah.
change their behavior, the psychology of self. That's what I'm into. So yeah,
Mm.
it is graft. And you do just want that. So why we people please? Why do we do it? Because it's a lack of, well, I would say originally it's all stemming back from childhood, isn't it? And it stems back what I believe to be like the good girl behavior. Whenever you did something good back in the day, it was like, oh, aren't you a good girl? Like, if you think about it, most of the time when we were children, we were happily playing and, you were when you did something good, it was like, oh, that's when you were given reward. So if you think about it, you've got a stimulus and you've got the reward. So you've done something good and then you are then given attention, done something good, given attention. So it's like later on in life, then fast forward to the business, when you do something good, you're still getting that dopamine hit that has been
Yeah.
programmed, implanted, ingrained into your very existence. So again, though, you're kind of seeking that good girl vibe, if that makes sense, of like, have I done it right? Is it good? Is it this? And it can end up like being an energetic drive, can't it? To
Yeah.
always be getting it right. And I feel like this is sometimes where perfectionism shows up as well, because you're scared to do it wrong, because if you do it wrong, then you're not a good girl because you've not done it right. that's quite an entangled loop there. But this is why I love psychology and the human behavior, because it's not necessarily one thing. It sometimes
Mm,
comes under an umbrella of things. So
yeah.
you might have, like a few, if you imagine like the spokes of an umbrella, are they called spokes? I don't know if you call it that, but like, and then they all come under one umbrella because everything's interlinked and it's not necessarily one. It is a party to the other one. And then I'd say, so with that one then, with wanting to then always gain this good girl vibe when you don't have it as well, and you're always wanting to put other people's needs before your own. I think this is a massive one for people pleasing, and I've definitely seen it in generations in my family as well. That other people's needs before your own is a lack of self-worth, okay? It's a lack of self-respect. So what you're saying is I want to make sure you're okay because I'm not bothered about myself. And if you're not bothered about yourself, then there's a low self-worth, there's a lack of self-love. So again, though, it's all interwoven, interweaving, and which is why in in my coaching, I don't know where that accent came from. In my coaching in particular, we go we dive into the subconscious and the limiting beliefs and the programs because you're not necessarily coming to you like, hi, I want to put myself out there and I've got this one problem. It's not about that. All the problems are all linked together. And it's a case of sometimes when you send healing to one, it kind of fixes a few others. So yeah, if you have got, low self-worth, then you're not going to then have the confidence sometimes with it with your business. So yeah, putting other people's needs before our own. This is when you're going to be accepting that call at 10 o'clock at night because my client, like their call matters to me more than me sitting with my boyfriend, my partner, my husband, and looking after my kids. So you're putting someone else's needs before your own. So just
Yeah.
think to yourself now, do I do that? Mm-hmm. Do it either with your kids, with your partner, with, I don't know, your sister, your brother. Are you putting their needs before your own? Because that is a big red flag then.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Anyone, do you want me to add on the others, or do you want to add on to what I've said so I'm not chatting for a while?
Yeah, I just want to like add on to what you were saying there about like, why we do people pleasing is because like we want that reward. Now, the biggest thing that like I've done and what I do with my clients as well is like we work through inner child stuff and we learn to give that reward to our inner child. We learn to give the validation, the appreciation, whatever it is that you need to you. So really, really important. Like something that has really supported me recently is like whenever I do something in my business, okay, so whenever I create a reel or a bit of content or whatever, rather than getting frustrated and going, why is it not working? Because we all do that, no matter where you're at, you're gonna you're gonna do it. But it straight away is just going, well done, giving myself a hug and going, well done, you did a good job. And then you're not getting in that people pleasing behavior. You're not looking for the validation. You're not looking for the reward so much because you're giving it to yourself first and foremost. And it really takes you out of that cycle. And then you're not having the guilt, all of that stuff because you're not looking for it. You're telling yourself, you are good at what you do. Do you know what I mean? It's really working on that self-belief, that self-concept again of like, we don't need to do people pleasing, and that's where you do have the stronger and firmer boundaries and you do the sacred art of saying no or fuck no or whatever it is. Like, so
Should start a group program, shouldn't we, call Fuck No?
yeah, yeah, I just want to add to this as well. It's like the more that you learn to say no to things that you do right in your business that you don't actually want to do, and you're going to get clearer and clearer on that over time. It's not going to be clear in the beginning. You might create things as well like programs or whatever it is, and then you might be like, I don't want to do that anymore because your energy has changed, and you might feel obligated to like keep going with it or whatever, or keep putting it out, and like you don't actually want it. And every time that you say no to something that isn't in full alignment, that you're not feeling that spark for, or that joy for, or that passion for, it's like keeping you stuck in mediocre as opposed to like stepping into your greatness and to what it is that you're actually meant to be doing and who you're actually meant to be as like a leader or entrepreneur, business owner. It's like you've got to learn to say no and be empowered in that no, because sometimes it's not going to feel safe as well, because you'll have created something. I don't know, let's say it's a course, but you don't really want to do it anymore. You don't want to do it a specific way. Now, what it's looked like for me is making the transition from having one-to-one clients and that being my main source of income, especially this year, and then being like, oh, you know what, this year there was so much anxiety because I was like, well, that's my main source of income, but I feel like everything in me is just telling me I don't fucking want to do this anymore. Like I want to do courses and I want to serve groups, and being like, that was a really, really scary step. And like, I had to say no to what wasn't serving me anymore so that I could make space, so that I could clear away energetically what wasn't serving, and instead allowing more of what was serving, because I wouldn't have had the space if I was doing, if I was serving a lot of people one to one, to actually start doing a group program, and all of this. So it's going to come up in many different ways at many different points in your business. And it's really, really, really acknowledging when it's not the full fuck yes. And when it's like kind of yes. A kind of yes or a don't know is still a no, right? It's the full fuck yes that you're looking for. And it's the, could I actually do it that way? And it's the, oh my God, no one else has done it that way, but that feels really, really fucking exciting, right? I want to do it that way, but I'm scared. That's the thing that you need to be doing. That's the thing that you need to be saying yes to, because that's what's actually going to drive you forward. And like, that's what it's looking like for me, where I'm going next and stuff like that. And it's so scary, but I am going to be
Lean
saying no to
into the
something.
fear. The fear
Yeah,
is growth.
yeah. And I guess it's the same, like, when maybe you're leaving a full-time job, okay, and to go all in your business, it's saying that no to what isn't serving you anymore, that's scary. But the full fuck yes is having a full-time spiritual business. It shows up in so many ways on so many levels, in your business, where you're going to have to get clear on what your energetic boundaries are and defining those again.
Have you gone from a fuck no to a fuck yeah?
Yeah. Fuck yeah.
But there is obviously as well, we need to shift that mindset of I'm here to serve, so this is what I must do. So in a way, we are here to serve, yes, but you're not a skivvy. I hope that kind of like, we are here to gift our energy out and to align with people that want to receive our energy. But we're not skivvies, we're not slaves, so we're not just like giving, 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 if that makes sense.
Mm.
So what to do instead? We've touched upon these, but I feel like it'd be good to narrow it down then. So as we've touched on, Amy's said clearly, like, get clear on what your boundaries are. And you've said perfectly, write them down. What are you willing to accept in your business? Like, this is what I want. This is what I want from a client. This is how I want my clients to show up for me. This is how I want my clients to, I don't know, communication style. And where are they up to in their business and are they ready to invest? So get really clear on that then as well. And define your working hours. I mean, I do, if a client messages me at nighttime and I want to reply to it and I see it, I want to reply to it, I will reply to it. But then at other times, if I'm like switched off or watching a film, then I don't. And that's the same for my friends as well. So in my sense, I'm a little bit more loosey goosey on those kind of terms, but I feel safe knowing that people aren't thinking, oh, what if, like I've said before, like I'm not really bothered what people are thinking about me. I just reply as and when I feel ready to reply. And I think one of the most important things that we'd highlighted here, and Amy had said this, it's like you've got all these boundaries, you've said on your terms and conditions, right, okay, I'm not going to respond to you past 6 p.m. If you're running a ceremony, like no transferring over to different ones. Follow through on your boundaries. There's no
Yeah.
point in setting them if you just
Mm-mm.
like when it actually comes to the crunch, you're like, oh yeah, but I know, but it's really bad, the dog died and they weren't expecting it. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna let them roll it over. It's like in the nicest possible way, that's not your problem. You are here to generate money so that you can thrive and survive in your business, yeah? So if you're accepting every Tom, Dick, and Harry's excuses as to why they didn't show up or why they were late for their coaching or their service, etc., then, you're going to be accepting all these excuses. And then your money at the end of the week is going to be nil pois because you've let so many people get away with things.
Yeah.
And there's a beautiful makeup artist that I know, and she's got very, very, very clear boundaries, and she's done it in like a traffic light system. And I feel like she'd explained it to me that the reason why she had to develop that is because she had so many piss takers along the way that it came to the point where it was like red, yellow, green. You're cancelling, then it's no, it's this, it's that. And it's like put those things in place, and then, people won't take the mick. I watched this, like sometimes when you're just having a bit of a doom scroll on TikTok, and there's a lady on there, and I think she's like a coach for beauticians. I know this is a digression, but basically what she does is like people who have beauty businesses have written in with like their problems of what clients have done, and she kind of like verbalizes like a way of getting around it. And again, this all comes back to boundaries. And what it was is like one of the ladies had messaged at like 4 a.m. saying, really sorry, I've been out on the lash. I don't think I'm going to be in for my nail appointment at 10. You can give it to someone else. So like they'd written in, to say like, how do you work around this kind of question, like around this kind of situation? Because then what had happened in the morning, the girl was like, obviously she'd filled the gap. She scurried around or whatever to get an appointment at when she got up in the morning, the beautician. And then the lady, when she woke up in the morning, she wasn't hungover anymore. So she'd messaged saying, I'll be in my appointment in 10 minutes. And it's like, that is just an absolute piss take, isn't it? So in that
Yeah.
situation, you've got someone that's just saying, like, oh, yeah, yeah, I'm going to be personalized. So they've not honored the original agreement. So then when the lady has managed to fill the space, then she was like, oh, yeah, yeah, I'll be in for my appointment. Like, so basically what this guru says is it teaches you how to verbalize what to say back. And again,
Right.
she's teaching these beauticians that it's okay to have boundaries, that it's okay to say this is unacceptable behavior. From a client to a professional, this is what I'm going to do going forward. So I feel like you can either start with boundaries, as in this is what I want, this is what I am, or you can let people take the piss out of you for so long that then
Mm.
you are forced to create your boundaries because you're like, hang on a
Yeah.
minute, I'm not having this anymore. So it is a choice, isn't it? As whether like you sort of be loosey goosey and let it sort of gradually become boundaries, or you just decide, what am I worth? Am I worth someone cancelling 10 minutes before and not being paid for it? Or am I worth saying, listen, if you cancel within 24 hours, like, I'm still going to be accepting full payment or blah, blah, however you work. So again, though, just follow it through if you are going to do these. So, and then I always think as well, like, so client expectations, I have on my coaching agreement of what to expect, how many hours, and like you just kind of laying out your shop window very transparently,
Mm.
like it's this amount of hours coaching, this amount of this, and what you'll receive. And then again, you've got no one coming back going, oh, but I thought we were going to have 13 hours coaching. And it's like you've always got something to fall back on then. So it's about being very clear on what you are offering so that if you do get a little bit of a piss taker, you can always refer back to something. Whereas if you haven't been clear in the beginning and you
Yeah.
got bit of blurred lines, and you'll get people going, oh yeah, but in that phone call that we had that wasn't recorded, you did say that I was going to get a free summit and you'd not given it. So, it is just it's about just being firm and fair.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like that's a good place to finish it, really. I feel like I've not really got anything else to add because it is in your energy, and then it's really just it's like verbalizing, like your spiritual business, and then honoring it. It's like those three things, and like it's good. It's going to be a process, and you're going to be constantly redefining your boundaries as well. But I definitely agree, like because it's all over my website before anyone signs up for my services. Like, like there's terms and conditions by signing up for this. You're agreeing to the following, and they can't go ahead with the sale until they've actually signed up for the thing. Do you know what I mean? And I feel like it's just within me as well. Like I am really firm and very clear in like what it is that I offer and what they're going to get and what I'm available for and all this. But it's been a process. Like I wasn't like that in the beginning. I wasn't. And you don't honestly always know until you get someone that pushes on those boundaries, and then you have to redefine them and go, oh, hang on a minute, I've not come up against this before. Like, do you know what I mean? But it will
When
happen more in the beginning, and you can get clear on it. but there's going to be things that are going to come up that you're not going to expect, and you're going to be like, oh, this is different.
But again, though, if you are experiencing someone that is pushing the boundaries, so to speak, then we thank the universe because that person, like, although you might be thinking, God, this person's taking the piss, like, did they think I'm a mug? But that person is a messenger. That person is sent to trigger you and to show you, like, look, you've got a little, a hole in the bucket there. You need to arrange and
Yeah,
sort that out. So again, don't get upset if people are coming on and testing the boundaries. It's just a case of, it's character building in a way, isn't it? So yeah, thanks universe for the message, but I am learning my lesson. You can send another one, but they are not getting through. So
yeah,
yeah, just giving
yeah.
thanks.
Yeah, definitely. Like, I definitely had it in the beginning, like with my membership that I started this year, like a few different situations. And I had to really like redefine how I was going to do it and what I was sort of person I was going to be available for and all this. And it was like, yeah, it is. And I did look at it like that. I looked at it like as an opportunity to make a different choice. And I've not had the same situation since. So as long as you acknowledge it and you work through it in the ways that we've just spoke about, then you're not going to keep getting it. And I think that's a perception that people have. It's like, why does this keep happening? And like,
You
it's
shouldn't have
really really
learning.
yeah. You got when you learn and when you put something in place, you don't get them people. You don't. So yeah, I feel like that's all. I feel yeah, like that's all I've got to say on this
And
matter.
that's all I have to say about that. So we're going to say it again. So please, if you've enjoyed this episode, as with our others, please like and subscribe to our channels. Again, just so you get a nice little notification of when we are bringing out our next amazing episode of Align and Activate Your Spiritual Business, just helping you with all the ins and outs of running a spiritual business in this day and age, because it's fun. Tears, tantrums, bloodset and tears, the lot. It's part and parcel of it. So
But
yeah.
it's worth it. It's worth it.
No,
It's
it is
worth
though.
it.
It is. It is. So yeah, we'll leave it there and we will see you on our next episode.
Bye.
Bye.